allow the two
It's okay. It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. Off your mind.
Like me.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go sama us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle so they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Sure. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. This one not they off in mind, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my yegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my yegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my yegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo, yo. My yegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo, yo. My yegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. Man of the masses, yeah, yeah. My ego don't come, oh, yeah, yeah. My ego la wa mo do do. My ego diary, my ego number one. Ayégun làwa mọ̀ làwọn tó dòdòdò. Ayégun diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Ayégun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Ayégun diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Ayégun diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Máyégún já wa sí. Ayégun diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Máyégún diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Máyégún máa wí. Máyégún diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Máyégún diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Máyégún diary politico. Máyégún diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Máyégún. Máyégún diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Máyégún diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Àní Máyégún làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Máyégún diary náà ibi nọ́mbà wán. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Máyégún ti dé. àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bíjó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Today. Hello there. So good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you're joining us. It is Máyégún live. And you're welcome back if you did join us earlier today. So tonight, please read the caption of the broadcast, the description as well. Then like the broadcast, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that Máyégún today. Last night, Werey Wike and his godson, Abi political son, Fubara, they appeared in Old Rock, where a formal meeting with Thiefnubu took place. Then after the meeting, Werey Wike, Fubara, and Emewhule, the speaker, all addressed the Thiefnubu's photographer who acted as a BD at that point. And Werey Wike said they have agreed to work together now. But the detail of, that agreement, it remained undisclosed. However, people are trying to piece together the journey of last 1 year or nearly 2 years when Fubara made headlines as someone who was on the side of the people and won't be following whatever agreement he had with Werey Wike. Well, remembering all the role Werey Wike played in 2023, it was like a karma served early. So a lot of people forgetting how, Fubara is a beneficiary of the electoral crimes of Werey Wike. But well, karma is karma. And they thought Fubara would be Werey Wike's nemesis. And then, the story then was Fubara refused to part with 30% of all accrued allocation to River State. Because according to Werey Wike, the agreement was not for him. It was to sustain the political structure that brought Fubara to power. Wike took charge of appointing according to them, over 80% of Fubara's supposed cabinet, in which some of the commissioners under Werey Wike just continued as commissioners under Fubara. So, that structure to be sustained, Fubara needed to be parting with that money. And Fubara won't part with River State people's money. So he reneged. And then the crisis started. So a lot of people were on his side until Fubara's state of emergency was declared and he was removed from office. Since then, apart from the regular people that kind of like protest here and there, his own political party, PDP, seemed to be, in so much disarray that Fubara was almost alone, all by himself. No pushback, no nothing. So one of the, in the last few weeks ago, rather, the same Fubara that appeared in public for the first time in months told his supporters, his followers, again, the supposed River State women, youth, who have been protesting against state of emergency. He told them that their actions were hurting him. They were hurting his reconciliation process. Before then, Werey Wike repeatedly, in one of his media chat or so, repeatedly lamented that if Fubara wanted peace, how come people are still protesting, including them walking out on Thiefnubu's wife? So Fubara told his supporters that their actions, because he didn't send them. Let's cut the long story short. In the midst of all of this, as he was trying to reconcile with Werey Wike, there were also rumors that the conditions being given to him include him not contesting for second term. He won't even get it. Right? And seek for Werey Wike's forgiveness, in which he is pretty much ready. But like I said, Fubara told his own supporters that his spirit has left the government house. That did they even know if he wanted to go back? But the spineless coward was actually lobbying to go and beg Werey Wike. Anyway, they met last night, and Werey Wike took him to Thiefnubu. First, Emewhule, the speaker, that decamped with the House of Assembly members, but the Supreme Court says, no, that didn't happen. They had an handshake. Not just that, they met with Kolu, and meeting Kolu, and after meeting Kolu, is in this clip.
As regards
To give God the glory that today is the 26th of June 2025, that peace has finally returned to the state. All agreed to work together with the governor, and the governor also agreed to work together with all of us who are members of the same political family. Yes, just like humans, you have a disagreement, and then you also have a time to also settle your disagreement, and that has been finally concluded today, and we have come to report to Mr. President that is what we have agreed. So for me, everything is over, and enjoy everybody who believe to work with us, to also work together with everybody. That there's no more acrimony, there's nothing to say we're disagreeing. We have all agreed on everything. So we thank God. For me, it's a day we have to thank Almighty God.
For me, it's very important that this day has come to be. What we need for the progress of River State is peace. And by the special grace of God this night, with the help of Mr. President and the agreement of the leaders of the states, including our leader, peace has returned in River State. We'll do everything within our power to make sure that we sustain it this time around. Thank you.
Please bear with me. There's something I need to put up there, so I need to stop the echo. Apologies, right? So that was them meeting with Thiefnubu. And of course, they have now agreed to work together. So, since they didn't tell us the agreements or the details of the agreement, people, including myself, can perfectly, right, and correctly as well, say one of the followings actually happened, or all of the followings. One, no, it can't be all of the followings. If truly what caused all of this, including them bombing the State House of Assembly, was because Fubara won't pay Werey Wike 30%, if that is true. And now that they have agreed to work together, means he has now agreed to give him the 30%, Abi, and every other conditions that follows, because this would be that the people's resources that Fubara told them he was defending is now a fair game at the end of the day, sort of, right? Or is it that Werey Wike has changed his mind? He no longer wants 30% from the state's allocation anymore. He just wants peace. And then the parts where it is being rumored, not just today, it's been like that for a while, right? That Fubara will be dropped for 2027 because, man, they can't risk it anymore. You get what I mean? It's also part of the deal. But here is how the Arise morning crew or the Arise TV, right? This is how they see the whole thing. Because to them, it is just like a surrender, kind of. Watch this.
As regards Fubara and Wike, the truth is, they will always settle their fights. In the first place, the fight was about the resource of the state. Now, they've been able to untwist Fubara. It just shows that Fubara couldn't fight the hegemony, so he went on a wild goose chase. The same agreements that probably Fubara didn't want to agree before, maybe is what they agreed now. I don't have the empirical facts. I don't like to talk in the blind, but in the dark. Or probably it's that same agreement. It will not be more than, yielding to your boss and all of that. You can see I think that's Emewhule, the Speaker of the House, and the factions at which they fought. So all of them are singing Kumbaya today, and it's all over. For good measure, the question we ask Fubara is that, will you just now go ahead to join APC so that we just know that you have potted fully? Or, because I don't know or you still want to do this amorphous relationship that your boss, Wike, does, that is one leg in, one leg out. In the end, this was not about the Rivers people. So the delusion that they are trying to put forward and say, oh, this is about peace, it was not about the Rivers people. It's about both of them having an innate agreement. Things went south, and then Wike flexed his muscle. Obviously, in this, he came out winners because he had more might, and he has been able to set Fubara straight. And they are on the line on the part of this, their own private agreement. All of this, see, don't deceive yourself. Politicians, when they fight, it's never about you, the people. Forget it. Your prospects in life is just like 1 or 2 line items on the budget. For them, it's about themselves and their families and what they can build. So, are we going to say congratulations to people in Rivers? What congratulations? Because they still put a sole administrator there. Despite the things we talked about, the aberration of state of emergency, still went ahead. So why do we deceive ourselves so much in this country?
Fubara meeting with Wike. Look, what Fubara has done is just to do an unconditional release or unconditional surrender to exhibit his cowardice.
I know that before now he had gone to London to see the president and all that. He's been busy begging. Okay, so what he has done is to cop out. All those people that I see there, I know many of them. I haven't seen anybody there that is Fubara's camp. It's, Nyesom Wike's camp dominating the meeting. So what it means is that Fubara has done an unconditional surrender. What are the details of that surrender? We would like to know. Has he now agreed that he will bow down, kowtow to the Godfather after the fashion of the Adelabu matter in Oyo State? Has he also kowtowed to the extent that whatever the Godfather says is what he will agree? We would like to know what the details are. And where does this leave all those youths saying, we are fighting for Ijaw nation, we are fighting for Fubara, and those stomach-driven elders who were coming on television to defend Fubara? Did he consult them before going there for this unconditional, for this surrender that he has done? However, everybody is driven by their stomach, what they will eat, whether Godfather or the Godson, and all that. So maybe we should just look for what will happen next. Maybe now they will reinstate Fubara and he will go back and be governor and he will be the one to control the budget, that the National Assembly, the Senate has passed in line with Section 11. And then, of course, there will be peace hereafter. This is all about character. This is all about the politics of Nigeria and the role of godfathers. This is all about, after all, this same Fubara told us that he doesn't need the position. What he has shown, what he has demonstrated, looks like serious desperation. Even if we applaud the fact that President Thiefnubu is acting as a father, as a peacemaker, and is trying to ensure that no part of Nigeria is disturbed. Where does he leave Ibo Kete Ibas, who is, enjoying the position? He's from your state. All these cross-river people trying to go and do long truth in River State. Okay, maybe the president will change his cabinet within the next month or so. He can always find something for him. He can always make him ambassador because he has shown that he's a man that can be used to pursue whatever agenda big men ask him to pursue. They will find something for him. But I look forward to what the outcomes of this
Now they see them. So that's the reaction from Rufai and our party. So Fubara is a coward. But they actually raised a very, salient point, if you mind. It was only Fubara in that meeting. Not a single person from his own camp. So obviously it is like he didn't consider his own supporters, those who have been on TV and all that. He didn't consider them as, important or relevant in the scheme of the things. So by all standard, Fubara feels like he is alone, I think. And some people are back in River State, they are there fooling themselves, trying to fit themselves in and say, Anywhere Fubara go, we'll go. Whatever Fubara say, we'll do. Because, like those ones who are following Werey Wike, whatever Werey Wike says, we will do. Werey Wike leads, we follow. And these are just the political washings there, old and young. You know? Here is another person who is also a Niger Delta from Rivers.
Well, we were aroused to the fact that peace has been brokered by the president yesterday evening, and that there is now reconciliation between the warring parties in the political crisis that has engulfed our state for over a year. But I have looked at the entire scenario, the pictures that came up, and the principal officers and gladiators that were involved in the so-called peace meeting. And I want to state with all sense of responsibility that I didn't see a reconciliation. I saw a surrender. You don't talk about peace when you are not talking about equity. You cannot talk about peace when you are not talking about fairness. A meeting with Mr. President, a meeting with the assembly members who are on the side of the FCT minister, and yet you saw only Governor Fubara, no person coming from that side. All the stakeholders are stakeholders that were on the side of the FCT minister. And so the conclusion is that Fubara went as a man. He went there singly, because if he carried the interest of the people and the embodiment of the desires of Rivers State, then we should have rather seen a more balanced delegation where you now talk about reconciliation and peace. And so I believe that was a surrender and not a reconciliation. Looking at what has happened before, of course, the president couldn't again broker a lasting peace deal in the first instance of meeting with them, because this peace was not also anchored on fairness. Until there is equality, until there is justice, sustainable and lasting peace cannot be said to have been achieved. And that's exactly the issue here. Because first of all, what was the reason for this war? What was the reason for the disagreement? It was about managing the state politically and economically. Governor Fubara has voiced this in so many places. It was about pushing a man to kowtow to the desire of a single person. And today, if all that is in the reconciliation is for everyone to go back and bow before the same man, and then it means we have returned to status quo. And so that cannot bring peace. Rivers State is a whole bunch of people with various desires and inclinations. And if you want to bring peace to such a family, every person's interest must be taken into account.
So, whose interest then did Fubara go there to represent? His own interest. Now, if Fubara that raised the alarm, because he was the one who raised the alarm that Werey Wike want to annex the state's resources, for himself. Right? So the elders who now supported him, hoping that Werey Wike would never become Rivers State Thiefnubu. So if this guy went there, just like you have seen, so he's expecting to just go back to those people that he once told that the fight was about money and political control, and tell them that, you know what, forget about all I told you, and let us all just go back and kiss the ring. So if anyone is still going on TV to speak for Fubara, I don't know what to classify them as. So. And if anyone is going about as well to think they are stakeholders in Werey Wike and Fubara's fight, again, I don't know what to tell you. I just hope that you can see that you are not, and you are not by any chance have any seats at the table. You are not a guest at their dinner table. You are the menu. So it's now up to you to know what you are dealing with. Now, talking about the same Werey Wike, yesterday, Werey Wike took his time, 8 minutes of his time, to lambast Peter Obi. Why? Peter Obi, in his recent kind of like way or style, took his time to condemn the Werey Wike's FCT ministry that spent 39 billion naira to renovate ICC, International Conference Center in Abuja, like town hall, you know. How could you do that? So he spoke about it. Werey Wike's response is more not about, you know, the money laundering that's currently going on, right? It was about Obi's personality. Please sit back and listen. I know this sometimes probably will be like annoying, right? They actually said this.
There are people who will just because of talking sake. I will tell you something. When PDP had no problem, we went to Anambra State for gubernatorial campaign. And when we finished that campaign, we went to somebody's house for entertainment. So I just sat down. Come and see the best of drinks. Crystal, this. So I called him. I said, sir, you are providing crystal champagne here. But every day you tell people that you wear only one shoe. You carry only bag, only you. But look at champagne here. Not just champagne, crystal. Why do we deceive Nigerians? Why can't we tell ourselves the simple truth? What you preach is not what you practice. And you know, we like to hear such thing. We like to hear such a thing. And that is being deceitful. And these are the kind of things that I tell Nigerians, look, don't allow people to deceive you. People who are preaching that they care for you, they don't care for you, they don't think about you. They're only trying to use you to climb. Like somebody said, they are hungry. Was speaker for 8 years, he was not hungry. Was governor for 8 years, he was not hungry. Was minister for 8 years. Only when he left that office, he became hungry. And you are telling Nigerians that, are you being fair? You Nigerians too should be able to ask, why are you talking to me like this? My mother said that she didn't go to school. Does not mean she doesn't hear shut up. No, you don't tell me this kind of stories. I don't need to be a PhD holder for me to understand that you are telling lies. You are hungry for power. You want how you take power, but you won't take the power. You won't take it. Because we won't give power to those who tell lies. Those who provide crystal in their house and come out and say, we don't need it. Don't need it. Nigerians are old. All we need now is to see you. What's something else? So, and that's what I tell our people. These things are not going to work. We must learn. We must see those who are sincere, who are truthful, who said, we will do this and we'll do it. Yes, there could be some challenges. There could be some challenges. And that's the essence of leadership. Nobody, no leader can succeed without taking decisions that will have challenges. No leader can succeed without taking decisions that people will say something. People must say something. People must say something. Because if you don't take that decision, people will say something. If you take a decision, people will say something. Therefore, say something. And that's, for me, that's all about what we're not here to make big men happy, no. We're here to make, not to make only big men happy. We're here to make poor people happy. And also to make big men happy. But what will move this country forward? And that's what the president has shown. We'll continue to support Mr. President and thank him for giving us the opportunity to be part of this success story. To be part of this success story. You know, you can be a part of an administration that's not successful. I'm happy. I'm part of an administration that's successful. Very, very happy. Whether you like it, you don't like it, the truth must be told. If you say, if you know how president is working, come to Abuja. Take it from there. You will know that the president is doing very, very well. So I'm not here talking because of party or no party. At this the life we are now, we should be able to tell people the simple truth. Even though me and you will quarrel sometimes. But you're my leader. In the South-South politics, as far as South-South politics is concerned, you're the leader. Nobody can take away that from you. It's not by your power, but that's how God wants it at this time. I don't want you to be one of those people whom God has given seat. And then every day you are afraid for nothing. No. You be governor for 8 years. Successful governor in that matter. Successful governor in that matter. A governor who can go back home today and say yes, and people follow you. And a successful Senate president. I don't want to talk about when you are a minister. I don't want to talk about one. I just want the one I know very well. You did very well. Is the one I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Because what I don't have facts, I don't talk about it. But as governor, I have the facts. I was the Minister of State Education. I came there and I saw. So I could talk about that. As a minister now, as a Senate president, I can see it, I can talk about it. The other one I do not know, I cannot talk about.
Nuisance Lele. Nuisance Lele.
Yeah, that's Werey Wike. He said more, but let's save our time. So the point there was that he was responding to Peter Obi condemning the use of 39 billion naira to renovate a hall when public schools are dilapidated, teachers are unpaid, and all that such you get, like that money can really do a lot. That's what Werey Wike was responding to. And at the same time, adding that of Rotif Miamichi. You know, they were there to commission, what do you call it, to commission 2-kilometer rehabilitated road. You know, and he used that medium to, you know, you went to Peter Abi, na my memory, they do me somehow. Peter Obi doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink. Does he? No, it doesn't. But does that mean that these Nigerian billionaires and all that, does that mean that they don't have drinks at home, like their bars and all that? So you visited somebody, and you visited his home, where you went to a campaign in Anambra. That's what he said. That when he saw Peter Obi's bar, expensive drinks and all of that. So you are a drunk. He gave you expensive drinks because, yeah, you are a state governor. He is no longer a state governor when you became governor. So that simply means that when you went there to campaign in Anambra with PDP, Obi wasn't governor. He's a former Abi. So you go to his house, and the only thing you could remember from that house is the kind of drinks you saw in his bar. And that is his response for spending 39 billion. Yeah, I have one watch. I have this. How does that relate to spending 39 billion naira to renovate a hall? And they were there clapping for him. Akpabiole, a thief that stole over 4 trillion naira. Over 4 trillion naira. He was a minister, the minister of Niger Delta under Buhari. Yeah? Over 4 trillion naira looted by this rogue. And this was a guy who also stole over 107 billion naira when he was governor. It was because of this corruption that he had to go and join APC. Because when he finished as governor in 2015, he was in the Senate. He was one of those governors that went to go and retire in the Senate. It was from that Senate that they arrested him for stealing 107 billion as governor. Few weeks after his arrest by the EFCC and release, Akpabiole decamp to APC. By the end of 2019, Thiefnubu, by the end of, when was he made the minister again? No, I think he stopped being governor in 2011, and then 2015, he was senator. So a senator of PDP, then he decamped to APC, then he became a minister. This Akpabiole. And since then, his corruption case, so even the one off your mic, it's okay. Honorable Minister, it's okay, off your mic. They were probing over 4 trillion naira missing in the NDDC and the Ministry of Niger Delta, which he happened to be the minister. Scandal. But today he's number 3 man in Nigeria. And according to Werey Wike, Akpabiole, that Werey Wike will still call a thief tomorrow if the account switch again now. The same Werey Wike. Anyway, I'll leave him. And talking about Akpabiole, it wasn't just Werey Wike that entered Peter Obi. Akpabiole took his time too, because those who came to their Nigerian Senate as Labour Party senators, most of them have already joined APC. They have not joined other parties like Jogo and join PDP, I'll go and join SDP. They have mostly joined APC. And the latest one is this announcement, but take a look at Akpabiole. Obidients.
This is notice of defection from the Labour Party to the All Progressives Congress. This is very important for the benefit of this country and the peace of this nation. May distinguished Senator Neda step forward as you move graciously to your new party, and please approach the chair for a handshake. Senator Leader, please bring your people. There is too much preoccupation with politics and 2027. Maybe there's too much concentration on receiving defectors all across the country, and people are not looking at it. Please, Mr. President, because the business of the Nigerian people, for which we were all elected, all of us and the President of the Federal Republic, is not moving forward. That is the one in this chamber is opposed to an extension if it has become necessary so that the machinery of government continues to run and does not grind to a halt. But clearly, nobody is satisfied about the situation that we have found ourselves in. Mr. President, I came this morning before the Deputy Senate President takes over. I had intended doing this, but when my eye was browsing, I did not notice. A very important thing has happened in this country today. And I feel it's important that I bring it to your knowledge. This is a letter from my colleague. Let me sit well for the purpose of this. I'm guided by my colleague, the Deputy Senate President, because I think we will have to take a picture together. This is notice of the
That's Akpabiole, but that is not all. Remember that Thiefnubu just signed the tax bill to law. And they are telling everybody that it is actually a good thing that the chunk of the people won't be paying taxes because they do not meet the threshold. So it must be good if you are too poor to pay taxes, right? Then it must be good. It's not targeted at let those who have money pay, okay? But within in that room, Kolu, Akpabiole, Oyedele, what's that? Zaki, something, right? They all presented what is more like, theatric of what their tax law would do. And it reminds me of something. Their subsidy remover. Today I was on X, Twitter, and I saw, it was like they shared this in their WhatsApp group, okay? So I saw a post, right? And it said, Thiefnubu's achievements in 2 years, right? Subsidy remover. Consumer credit, which means you can buy things on hire purchase in Nigeria. So they're giving that to him. But people already buy things in hire purchases if you have job and bank accounts, right? But anyway, they said it's Thiefnubu's achievement, electricity tariff reform, which makes you pay more for darkness today. Thiefnubu's achievement, student loan, Thiefnubu's achievement, local government autonomy, Thiefnubu's achievement, what again? Minimum wage of 70,000, Thiefnubu's achievement, stabilization of Naira at 1,700 Naira to $1, Thiefnubu's achievement. I'm just trying to remember some of them, right? And you begin to ask yourself, like, are these people kind of like, crazy? Like, what do you even mean by electricity reform? It is not as if you have generated more electricity. The whole thing is still about, promise and promise. And there is nothing pointing to that, oh, they are going to generate more electricity for you. So, yeah, you have to pay more. Nothing. Minimum wage reform, like for real now. We still have people protesting here and there. As much as they are suppressing that, right? We still have people protesting here and there and asking that they should pay this minimum wage. It's been over a year now. But it's already Thiefnubu's achievement. Millions of people, right? In a system where you say, student loan. In Nigeria, education was subsidized. That includes government-sponsored scholarship and all of that. Thiefnubu removed everything. Now, people have to pay through their noses if they can afford, or they can come and collect a loan, student loan. And in a year since they claim to have started, in a year, they said over 300,000 people applied, students applied. But they've given money to 100,000 people, right? And then they have a handful of people saying, yes, they give my brother, they gave my sister, they gave my this and that. But there is no real evidence. There is no data to back any of this. Just take it. We can't lie to you. I mean, I don't feel lie for you. Okay? We have already given money to that aspect itself, right? They have been like brandishing different figure, different number. Because it is them. So now, here they are. They've added tax bill. Because according to Oyedele, this bill is so good, right? That 70% of people that are not paying taxes right now in Nigeria will begin to pay. Presently, it's only 30%. They are not looking at the people they want to pay the taxes because they are telling themselves that, yeah, Nigerians are very poor, but there are some people who have money in Nigeria and we can make a lot of money from them, some businesses and all of that. So it's going to be easy. They have said a lot. But I go there here, since I know be expert, but I can see through all the lies. Yeah? So that is why I'm supposed to be the chief, I told you so, of the universe. Because that's more or less like what this is for those who said a lot. I don't know how many of you will remember. Okay, I saw another one where somebody wrote as well and said, how many of you can remember the 2 years of Thiefnubu when he was governor? People were abusing him. People were calling him Ojuyobo, this and that. They said, oh, the first 2 years of this Thiefnubu, if you are like, poorer, don't worry. By the time Thiefnubu is done, 8 years, you are all going to be very happy. Lagos State was worse off under Thiefnubu. These sewage dwellers, they will conveniently give the glory of others to Thiefnubu. Those of us who actually lived in Lagos then can tell you so much of, then Fashola came. And for the first time, people actually felt sanity to some extent in the city. The number they came. People started seeing some level of a real construction, like proper stuff. And if you now ask anybody to tell you what exactly is Thiefnubu's project in Lagos State that they can refer to now, they will be pointing to Fashola, Ambode, and recently Sanwo-Ikú for Thiefnubu. And they have done that very well enough that they will say, because he chose people that succeeded him. Lagos State makes more money, that kind of thing. For 8 years of Thiefnubu, anyway, they are pushing all of this, and somehow it's giving me the vibe of when Bokwari, I don't know how many of you here we remember the first 2 years of Bokwari, when they were telling all of us then that Bokwari was so good that it disciplined the whole country when in 1984, 1985, they said that Bokwari created discipline. He fought corruption. That so many people hated him. If they allowed him to finish that time, maybe Nigeria would have been better now. So when Bokwari started the destruction of Nigeria from 2015, these were their talking points, telling us about, fair enough, some of us witnessed, have the clearer memory of Thiefnubu's 8 years in Lagos. Abatinika Jeun Sapo, Abatinika Jeun Soke. You remember that time? Anyway, here you have the clowns in the room. talking about what they don't give a hoot about. But it sounds pretty much good that since they are promised that they will get more money.
The process of nation building, even the block work takes a bender and concrete cement to build the body. Is what you have provided is leadership and courage in the face of mounting dispute. Nowhere in the world that tax reform will be any easy. Some tax bills that you might read in your textbooks might even sound sometimes like reading in English in Japanese. Very difficult. Twisted equations, reverse ideologies. At the end of the day, what you must land with is the hope to develop the people and show the right character towards the destination. We are in transit. We have changed the road. We have changed some of the misgivings. We have opened the door for new economy, business opportunity. We are showing that Nigeria is truly, truly ready and open for business. Easy in, easy out. And the question of our tax to GDP and all other formulas will be obsolete.
It is normally the woman that is congratulated. And nobody will remember that the man kept sleepless nights in order to ensure that the baby came. So, Mr. President, we have always known that you are a thinker. We have always known that you are intellectually sound. We have always known that you care for your country. Those who have doubts can now descend from two major actions. The first was the cancer of fuel subsidy that many regimes could not obliterate. So you came and you did it, and today Nigeria is better for it. Many did not know that by the time you took office in 2023, Nigeria was on life support. We're using about 98% of the daily revenue of this country for debt servicing, and almost 90% was on oil subsidy. And so Nigeria was heading to the brink of collapse. Then you came and you said that God brought you for a time like this, and you are prepared to ensure that Nigeria was saved. Here again, you have harmonized the entire tax system in this country. Stamp Duties Act that think it was in 1901. At last reviewed in 1939. And then here we are, in 2025. We are still cooperating on even taxes and laws on taxation that were here before the colonial masters left. They were all incorporated into our laws. Yes. And he said this cannot be allowed to continue. Nigeria must be modernized. And modernizing the tax system means bringing more money for the development of the country. Today, you are signing these historic bills into acts of parliament. And I can tell you that even for the states, when they see the outcome of what they are doing today, generations unborn will remember you. I want to say that myself and my brother, the Right Honorable Speaker, we had no doubt that you came with a vision. And we were determined in Parliament that nobody can stultify your mission for this country. You campaign on the basis of changing the country, changing the perception. And so there was no need for people, no matter what they said. The Parliament was determined to look at the bills and find out whether indeed they were good for this country and they will benefit the vulnerables and the common man and woman in the society. And at the end of almost 10 months of rigmarole, debates, consultations, public hearings, we came to the conclusion that yes, indeed, what you did and what you are doing now will be remembered for generations to come. No parliament makes a law for one particular regime. Laws are meant to last, and this is one law. These are laws that will last for generations to come. Nigeria has changed with what we are doing today. And I want to congratulate the entire members of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and congratulate all Nigerians and all stakeholders who made contributions towards what we are here doing here today.
So just like maybe not like the Nigeria here, Akpabiole, Kolu, and others who have wrecked Nigeria even further, they are giving themselves accolades, and they put together a new tax law, which itself is an actual job put together to further prove to the IMF and World Bank that they could give them more money. So in reality, right, Thiefnubu has added over 80% more to Nigeria's debt. Somebody sent a comment after the program last night and said Thiefnubu did not devalue the Naira. I don't understand what he meant by that. I mean, you know, but they call it floating the Naira because they wanted the market value to, yeah? And they put together a tax program in which I want to believe their research told them, right, that there is a chunk of demography in Nigeria who actually have so much money, but they are not paying taxes. So they have to put together a mechanism to ensure that they pay, right? And what they pay. So in all of this, okay, in their own permutation, a country whose GDP keeps going down and down, a country that can't really show that is investing in major infrastructure for real, other than the jamboree, like declaring the refineries working after they stole over $4 billion for its renovation. And then the refinery pack up 2 weeks later for maintenance. So using propaganda and lies, when real investments are actually not being done, then you are now building a law. I mean, so you are putting together a structure that will capture those ones that you imagined are making so much, but they are not declaring them. So, but you don't care about, as the system keeps churning out poorer and poorer people, because to you, there is a program of government on the side to give people who can feed some food. But we are interested in those. Imagine somebody who is selling a human hair of 400,000 naira. Do you know, online, there are these people who are selling things. Some of them are making so much money, but they are not declaring it. So we want to tax them. You see, these ones that they are targeting, they are also ignoring the fact that they are human beings, Nigerians inside Nigeria, who are also affected by Thiefnubu's other policies and that of insecurity. So it is in the midst of all of that, right, that you imagine that some people are still surviving. So those ones we don't enter Kalu, we don't enter Kana, you can't do much about those ones, but there are others. So you are not seeing how the insecurity and other things are actually like not only pushing businesses and people out of jobs and all that, right? But no, there are more people. So that's kind of like their plan. So when you ask, who are you planning to tax? They will say, no, it's not the poor. No, like you are exempted. If you are not making 800,000, if you're making below 800,000 naira, you are exempted. And to them, millions of Nigerians are not making that, as millions are also making that in their own way. Anyway, I call it a voodoo economy. So there is no point in, beating that. The same guy who ran down the entire country so far in 2 years. So in 2 years, and you still have 6 years to go, Abi. 6 years. I want to die, people do. Those who came out and organized, they even organized a road show to convince people, right, that it was in their interest that they removed subsidy. And some people bought it. Not that a lot of people felt like they probably had no choice. But they had those who bought it. And today they are explaining to others that imagine you that is the pawn on their chess table, going online or offline, convincing your fellow victims that it is in their interest that they remove the subsidy, because it would have wrecked Nigeria. They ask you, where did you get that from? They say the politicians told you. The experts. Who are the experts? The people appointed by the criminal politicians. It is you it will affect. But when it comes to their own emolument and all of that, that one will not wreck Nigeria. Do you get that now? Like, you have 200 million people that would have to manage 5 trillion naira so that they could buy cheap oil. Do you get that now? 5 trillion naira subsidy. Now, still scam that they are sharing the money among themselves. So, robbing this, instead of robbing the people, by taking it out of their pocket, by forcing them to give it to them, they can even just take it out of their pocket as taxes, right? And then use it for subsidy. So 5 trillion naira subsidy. I don't even want to go to the story of the subsidy fraud and how it got that high. But I'm using the number because now them they put them out. 5 trillion naira Nigeria oil subsidy. 10 trillion naira, so that 200 million people can have access to cheap oil, which will indeed keep transportation costs down. And in that process as well, keep the food price or cost down. Like that economic chain of reaction like that. All they have to do is to just put 10 trillion naira. Say, 10 trillion naira. Do you know that if there is no, they shall convinced you, and some of you are still convinced till today, that subsidizing you, millions of you, will wreck Nigeria. But in that same budget, these guys are budgeting more than 15, 20 trillion naira for themselves. Handful people will not reach 10,000 though. Or maybe they are more than 10,000. Let's even just use some number for all of them across Nigeria. Together, Now, let me break this down again, just to give you a wider understanding, a perspective and understanding. All right? So that it's not like we are focusing in Abuja. So you put all of that together, what they put in the budget for themselves, openly, no shame, no nothing, no question asked. Even if people react, that's their problem. What can they do? Trillions for people who don't reach 100,000. Their greed is so much that they then went to town to convince the needy that if they continue to feed the needy, the greedy will suffer. So therefore, they need to continue to feed the greedy in order to starve the needy, the people. And the needy, they were convinced that Nigeria is going to, let us be honest. Let us be honest. Subsidy is going to destroy, subsidy is going to educated people. And when you ask them, where did you hear that from? The politicians, the politicians, the governor, even the experts. Who are the experts? These are the experts.
Chairman Finance Committee, Chairman Appropriations Committee, and of course Chairman House of Representatives Finance Committee. Honorable Ministers, Chairman FIRS, Chairman Tax Reform Committee, SA Energy, SA Media, and the PPS, Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today is a day that marks a defining moment in our economic history. The signing of the tax reform bills into law is a testament, Mr. President, to your commitment to fiscal responsibility, equity, and national development. In brief, these laws simplify our tax system, they broaden the tax base, and in a fair and equitable manner, as well as promoting voluntary compliance by taxpayers. As we know, for decades, the tax administration has been constrained. We've had a low revenue.
Nuisance Lelevi. Nuisance Lelevi.
I don't want to waste your time. Those are the experts. That is one of them. Experts. Economic experts, That's the guy who is the head of Thiefnubu's economy team, Wale Ijon. So, it's all right. If you survive after Ronoku, I'll be here. There are those who called me enemy of progress under Bokuwari. Today, now them come they say Bokuwari destroyed Nigeria, so that Thiefnubu they fix them right now. Our experts. Guys, I saw an interview. It was an interview granted Charles by Yakubu Goloss. And I didn't bother kind of like watching it at first until I saw somebody who cropped out a part where Yakubu Goloss, who is now like 91 years old, is very old now, said Ojukwu was wrong about what he told people about the content of the Aburi Accord. Right? He said he wasn't feeling well when he went into that conversation, that accord, that agreement. He said he had fever. That boy, he just had to agree to the Aburi Accord. That it was when he got back to Nigeria, that when he now got better, he now realized that he's been manipulated to accept the conditions for the accord. And according to Ojukwu, the conditions for the accord was that the Biafrans shouldn't leave now. Instead of them leaving, they could create a confederation whereby eastern part of Nigeria today, including this Niger Delta and all that, right, today, would have been an autonomous region and possibly independence by now. It was a gentleman agreement. So he said when he got back to Nigeria, he realized that he was manipulated. Like, what are you talking about? But when he said he had fever, I was like, what's he talking about? Fever. Alaye, you were dancing, you were holding different women at that accord. For those of you who might want to see the video, it was dancing, they were drinking, they were eating, they were, you know, it was like Gowon was even like the happiest. At that accord, it was like the happiest guy. Ojukwu was just somebody who was like, you know, kind of calculative. So some people are saying that Gowon at the time, who was a secondary school certificate holder, Ojukwu at the time was not just a degree holder, it was a master degree holder, like was a PhD, sort of like a graduate or so at the time. So they said, because it took several efforts to get the eastern part of Nigeria government led by Ojukwu at the time, it took them several efforts to be able to bring them to that, that negotiation and agreement. Because at a point when things became hotter in 1960, that same 1967, right? When things became very hot, Ojukwu and his own people felt like they were not safe outside the eastern part of Nigeria, right? And of course, Gowon, Abina Goloss, who was the head of state, was also under pressure, right, to stop the Biafrans from leaving. Then they moved it. They said, okay, let's move it to another neutral ground. Let's move it to Ibadan. But again, at the last minute, it was said that the Eastern government still felt like no, until it was agreed to be taken to Aburi in Ghana, right? And the Ghana government hosted them. So to go on, finally, they have gotten a solution, something that will avert any war. So Gowon returned back to Nigeria. So did Ojukwu return back to Biafra. There was no declaration of Biafra at the time, per se, like, you know. Then Ojukwu, Goloss got back to Nigeria. It was then that they explained the implication of that accord to him. That at the time, the richest part of Nigeria was about to be ceded for the Easterners. And with the existing form of like, bad blood that the men of that time had for the Igbos. So it was like, no. And immediately, right, they said they were both going to make an announcement. So Ojukwu was waiting for Gowon to announce and say they've reached a truce. There will be no conflicts. And these are the conditions. So they are going to work together and ensure. So he waited and waited and waited. There was nothing. Immediately he knew. That was Ojukwu. He knew. He said he knew that the whole thing has changed. It was then that they actually received the official statement that no, Aburi Accord is not binding on Nigeria because it was not signed in Nigeria. And therefore, the eastern part of Nigeria remained part of Nigeria. And it was this Yakubu goloss that ended regional system of government in Nigeria, for the record. History of Nigeria is written by criminals who committed a treason, not only just against Nigeria, but against the Nigeria people. Historically, the criminals who are supposed to die in prison for, human rights, not human rights, I'm talking about, like people were supposed to actually die in prison for war crimes, so to say. They got rewarded. So they wrote the history. Agui and Rossi, that stopped the revolution that could have possibly like saved Nigeria, according to this young officer in 1967, January. So Erosi stopped them, and they've already made an announcement that they are cancelling regional system of government, but they didn't have the power to implement it. Erosi took over. He also himself didn't have the time to execute this regional system. Or sorry, the one Nigeria nonsense then, because while Erosi was still alive, eastern part of Nigeria was not part. I mean, it wasn't state. It wasn't this one Nigeria. They still had eastern Nigeria, western Nigeria, northern Nigeria. Even as Agun Erosi cancelled regionalism, it was Gowon who now came. Rejected, reneged on Aburi Accord and broke Nigeria into 12 states. An announcement that obviously prompted Ojukwu and others too to declare Biafra, that Biafra won't be part of that. And a full-blown war was launched from the mountain of the middle belt of Nigeria. The rest is history today, but Gowon said he reneged because he had headache or fever. If you can hear him.
Well, I think that is the interpretation that we don't know whether that accord was, the actual final result written from it was not to be done until after we got home.
But you agreed to the accord when you were in Gowon.
No, this is the accord. It is not a question of agreement in accord. Yes, it is when we come back home, and I made this. I made a statement. When you come back home, and I make a statement that about Aburi.
Right. Because that's why it was called an accord. An accord means that you had agreed.
No, accord. But then it has to be done in Nigeria before Friday.
So you needed to come home and discuss it.
Unfortunately, when the first people doesn't want to believe it. I was having a serious attack of kind of fever or whatever it is, and I could not make any decision. At home. Right. When we arrived in home, and Ojukwu was one who then, when he came, he went and made made the statement. He made the statement about the Aburi Accord, and the governor of the Midwest did Eje. Then rang me at that very early hours of the day. To tell me, he said, "Have you heard?" So I said, "Heard what?" And what Ojukwu said. So I said, "No, I haven't heard anything, baby. That happened, but that is the reason why I could not make this statement, which would have then clearly say exactly what we agreed with and he told me we said you are going to move. I can't have it. The military is going to be etc. are going to be controlling the people now from each from each organization, for example. And that's what I said today. Is that actually, honestly, is that what we are doing? But he said, "Yo." So I said, "Well, honestly, I do not know what that is." So that was the time, and later on, I had to ask the other governors what they think,
and they were able to say, well, that is not by what it is. So we had to organize a meeting of all the governors, and he was invited to attend so that we can deal with the Aburi Accord. And we met at Naifo in Benin, and he did not turn up. And of course, all the secretaries to the government, all the were there, all the governors were there. He was invited, but of course he said because of security reason he cannot come, so he didn't come or send anybody. And we discussed that Aburi discussion, and for example, the permanent, the secretary to the government, the West, did ask, came and appealed to me, as a Christian, please, if we can make sure that that accord, what we agreed is in the true spirit of Aburi. And I told him, as a Christian, I can assure you that that is the way, it is going to be. And we had that meeting.
It's a very useless man. So, yeah, the part that described the Aburi Accord, where it was agreed then that the military should be decentralized, the police should be decentralized, something close to, the regions remain, and they will have their own army, they will have their own police, but they will share, being part of the same country, they will share the, they will share the same immigration system, security system, and all that stuff like laws and all that. But people will have, each region will have the chance of protecting their own people and defending their own people whenever time arises. So this was their agreement, according to Ojukwu. Something that it was said, books have been written on this, right? That it was interpreted to Ojukwu in Lagos, that this is practically you sharing power with, it was interpreted for Gowon rather, in Lagos, that this is you like sharing power with Ojukwu. Ojukwu is even more powerful than you because it's controlling the region that has the oil. So this is not, this is not good. Not for when they felt like they have removed an Igbo general from power. Aguiyi Ironsi. Do you get what I mean? Ironsi is not even Igbo, is it? No, it's not. Anyway, so now turning around to now share power with another Igbo man. No, it's not going to happen. This was the beginning. That was what led to the death of millions of children, women, because of the ego of what people wrote as the ego of a two men. At that point, Ojukwu felt like it was time for him to defend his own people, and almost unprepared, because I think Ojukwu said they were not preparing for war. After the Aburi, they celebrated it enough that the delegation was so happy that finally any bloodshed or what have you had been averted. Only for Yakubu goloss to renege, and just a few days after that they came back from their Benin meeting, which Ojukwu didn't attend. That was when we had Biafra, the genocide. But here is one of the last interviews of Ojukwu at the time on this matter, just to balance both.
But at the end of it, I don't want to go because these things are all, the tapes are available, the records are there. In fact, only about 2 weeks ago, I saw a set of the records again. The transcripts are available. But we talked about the Nigerian situation. And certainly, at the end, everybody says, oh, you told them this, you did that. The fact was that our case was so clear that I actually believed at the end of Aburi that the problem was not Gowon, but probably some ambassadors in Lagos who were pressing for something else. Because we understood each other. We agreed on every single point. The drafting was, in fact, my chief secretary with 2 other chief secretaries from the other side. They said, no. And drafted and agreed. We looked at it, we agreed. General Ankara read over the whole report again to us at the end. Asked us if we wanted to amend anything. No. At the end of all that, the position was so good that actually Ankara drove Jack, Gowon, and myself to the airport. Jack was sitting on his left, I was sitting on his right. He was in the middle. And in the course of that journey, at a point, General Ankara shook his head and said, oh, thank you. Thank you. If only we can go on like this, everything would be all right. I believe I was the one. As I do now from time to time, I go for the dramatic. Suddenly I picked up Gowon's hand, put it on Ankara's lap, brought my other hand, placed it on it, and I said, General, sir, hold us together, I want to say something. So General Ankara put his hand on top of the 2 hands, and I said, General, I want to assure you that I am totally satisfied with everything we said. I will even go further and say to you something I did not say at the conference, and that is that once we have implemented everything we have said, I would ask you for one favor and one favor only. And that would be to be the one to propose Jack Gowon as a head of state of Nigeria.
It was a 2-day conference of peers and old mates, but its aftermath produced even further controversy.
When we came back, and Ojukwu did not go to make the statement he made first, virtually giving the impression that we've agreed for a confederation to move apart, etc., which was really not in exactly that. If I had had the opportunity to make my broadcast first, because that was the agreement, not for him to make the broadcast first, then if I had committed myself to what he said, then there wouldn't have been any problem. But he went and said certain things that certainly looked wrong, and therefore we saw in practically everything he did, I think it was for to play up to the gallery, not being sincere.
At Aburi, yes, we agreed on area commands for the armed forces. At Aburi, we agreed that the police force would be decentralized. We agreed on those. Yes. We agreed even to show that we didn't separate, at Aburi we also agreed on certain revenue formula. That's what happened at Aburi. Aburi again, because I always end up, it sounds odd today, but I always end up by saying I must have been naive, because I believed actually that would be the end. I'll confess to you, when I got back to Enugu, oh yes, I had a party, believing that probably the danger was over. That's what we thought. Until they then began to deny everything. It was the denial of Nigeria that made me publish the tapes of Aburi, because we had insisted that each one should have a set of tapes. Everybody talks about confederation. Go and look at the transcript. There is no time that the word confederation came from my lips.
In broad terms, Aburi changed the title of head of state from Supreme Military Commander to Commander-in-Chief. It gave the regions control over internal affairs, and concurrence of each region was now required for any decision affecting the whole country.
But at the end of it, I don't want to go because this thing.
See, all these videos are online. All you have to do is just punch in the right keywords. And you don't need anybody to end up lying to you. If you want to watch the full video, the documentary on the Aburi Accord, it's online. Just Google it and just listen. Even if it's just for educational purposes, right? Just do it. Most of those who are jumping on TVs these days, driving different narratives, a lot of you have no idea that they all have this political agenda to keep pushing a certain narratives at a certain period for a certain reason, but for the same reasons, just to keep everybody divided. They will say, in Edo State, after we saw Very Dark Man at Ogede yesterday in Benin, here is what the Nigerian army and their impunity. Do you know that not even a statement has been made by the state government till now? People whose properties have been destroyed, demolished by this Nigerian army, they have been left on their own. Now they have left you.
As VDN, they come up for the community. Now they come back again. These people came back with big tata. Enough army, about 2 trucks. Now they come out, enter the community again. So they for this one. I will show you another one again just now. Mona see Percy house. Mona see Percy sweat. Mona see complete 2 flats. Now they bring down like this. So Mona see Nigerians. Mona see this one are straight another 2 flats. This evening, no. They just come up for here now. You see the way they take march here. See the way they take 4 house. It be like, yeah, I don't know whether now here can be war front where they say made it. I don't know, insecurity everywhere. Mona see they shop this house. See, they just shop one side of the house down. See, they leave one side, they shop one side. Just go this backyard. See, Mona see people sweat. Mona see person sweat. This house has been here for long because they are me. They first shop one side though, but no. This is painful. See, Mona see houses. See, borehole don't even take here before, but because they are me, say me they not build. They leave everything. Person leave everything. Imagine now you can't send message to this person and say, Baba, come on, they don't chop your house into two flats. They don't shop one side, come out. See, right from here now, go like this. They bring them down. See, people sweat.
Easy, now they never build the house finish.
People sweat. And this house like this now, the house don't wet where. So as the year they touch and they fall. As the year they touch and they fall. Yeah. As they touch and they fall because the house don't stay. Don't take, yeah, don't take. Don't take. Ball even the front of the house. Imagine. Ball the front of the, and I just roofing level now. You know what? Roofing level.
They go foundation.
Roofing.
The state government has not said anything. Even though those of you who live in America and live in all this part of the world, you now know what is going on in the community. If you are from that community as well, God knows how you've been handling that. It is Nigeria. School children were seen today in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Secondary school students. They were fighting because they were cultists, like cultists, secondary school children.
You never cut a knife like they cut a knife, you're going to see the picture.
Descobri só vai cara machete, security.
This guy get moral.
God teach people when not able to eat better food. See this way, I got no son. I'm gonna come and I can't live. Oh my God! Deliver! Give that. I swear.
I know the cameraman won't blind us. I'm sorry, I did my best to do some stabilization. But it's worse. School children. And if you talk to anyone in Nigeria right now, they will be surprised that you are surprised. You say, school children. How can secondary school children say, oh, are you surprised? Well, I am surprised that you are surprised too. It's not a new thing. You just have to be very careful. Secondary school children. So, brethren, the last part of this chart is this piece of, information coming out of Togo, out of, I think it's Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. As I watch this.
This guy was already.
You never cut a knife like they cut a knife, you're going to see the picture.
Descobri só vai cara machete, security.
This guy get moral.
Polisi jatuh kasihan.
Iya kah?
Wih jatuh lagi.
Ya Allah ya Rabbi. Ya Allah.
Jangan terlalu ribut deh.
Wih.
aussi, ni m'attendais à mi ou
So it's in Togo, the Nasigbe Eyadema, kind of like a country. So about a month ago, there was this rumored coup in Ivory Coast. But now it seems Togo is receiving its own baptismal as well. And Kenya is also currently busy with the Gen Z who are holding their public office holders to their responsibilities. And on that note, we will call it a night. YouTube is still making it difficult for a lot of you to see notifications. So to those of you who actually searched to see if Mayegu is live, thank you. Only a few people probably received notifications. So it is YouTube. Will soon, it will soon be over. So thank you so much for your time. Remember, like the broadcast as you are living. Yeah, if you haven't already, but if you have done it already, don't do it again. No, that means you are taking it back. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And at the same time, have a wonderful weekend. It is a good night from here.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun dayari political. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá ti ń gba rìbá. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀gọ̀lọ́mọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì o ẹni bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.